every time that Disney wanted to take a little bit of a smart approach, let's say. Although smart technically is not that correct word. Probably I will say that it is the deep mentality subject matters that it makes you think a lot. But don't get me wrong, Disney also did this kind of movies in which make you think hard about the meaning of life or something like that. Usually, but most of the time they are very simplified, not very vague or what was the correct word? Let's say that it makes you think or something like that. Kind of like most Christopher Nolan movies, like Inception or Interstellar. Two movies that I hate, or movies that I love in which they're a little bit pretentious, like the 2001 Space Odyssey, which is some of those movies that I really like. It's not every time that Disney do that. This is one of those weird aspects that came into my mind when I saw the trailer of the movie that I'm going to talk about, which is A Wrinkle in Time. The first time I saw this trailer, I was like, this is one of the craziest trailers I ever seen. And it coming from Disney and talk about the universe, all this existentialism thing, I was like, Disney usually never goes into that kind of territory. A few times they tried. I mean, technically the closest thing it comes into my mind right now is with this lousy but yet interesting film, which is The Black Hole. I don't recommend it too much, by the way. It's an old movie that it has a lot of fallacies. But it isn't. But at least I recommend it to watch it at least once to have some interesting things to talk about. But anyway, A Wrinkle in Time. Saw the trailer. It looks interesting enough that I thought that I had to watch this film. And well, this movie was being anticipated. They were promoting it like hell in this one. And then I began to realize that it is based on a book. I made my investigation after I saw the movie, just in case. Some before, some after, but the point is that it is based on a book that I haven't read. And Disney also made first attempt on talking about this movie on a Disney Channel TV movie, which I haven't seen. So I went to see this movie with a perspective of a newcomer, someone who haven't read the book, someone who had to make some investigations after watching the movie. And I meant after, because I came out of this movie mildly confused. And I thought that I could like this film, but there were aspects that I kind of really didn't like. But it took me a while to grasp if I like this movie or not. But then I began to think it over because I needed a recap, let's say. The biggest reason is because I went to see another movie after A Wrinkle of Time, which I will make a video out of it. Just wait. But then I went to see what other reviewers were talking about this movie, and what do they think about this one? Mostly out of refreshment to make a proper review. But it's not like I'm stealing idea or something like that. But weirdly enough, they did nail some of my thoughts of the movie. And the more I talk about it, and the more I begin to internalize about the whole thing, I came up with the conclusion that A Wrinkle in Time, it is what I said before in the beginning when I came out of this movie theater. This movie is a beautiful, pretentious film. and in a way that is not good. I say beautiful because it looks good, but when you look at the core of it, this movie is not well done. It's technically really bad. It sucks in a way. It could. If I'm not gonna say that I 100% hated it because there are some merits on this movie, but as a matter of fact, I don't think that it does the job well done. And according to what I saw later on interviews about this movie and all this stuff, this is one of those movies in which, unfortunately, it fell prey on saying that, we're gonna make this so you can be a kid, you can enjoy being a kid or something like that. You just kill off the #1 rule of marketing that Walt Disney did. You should never target children. You should also target adults because adults are grown-up children. And when you have that kind of mentality that you just want to make an experience out for children to enjoy, you fail. Because making something that for a younger audience to enjoy, that's no excuse to just let it out or something like that in a way that it feels irresponsible. And unfortunately, Wrinkle in Time, it has those problems in my opinion. So right now, let's get to the crux of why I think that this is one of the biggest disappointments of this year so far. The movie stars this girl named Meg, played by this girl, Storm Reed. A fine actress. She does okay on the job, but the point is this: she is the daughter of this scientist played by Chris Pine, who this guy disappears out of nowhere because apparently he has this theory that with the power of the mind, and here's the bullshit, the power of love, you can transport from one place to another with your thoughts. And there's no psychic connection like Psyche, Kusuo, or something like that. No. Apparently everyone can do that. So the guy disappears for 4 years apparently, and then our character Meg, she is so sad that she pushes everyone away. She, although not treating her bad, she just she just pushes people away, except for her precocious genius little brother, 6-year-old kid played, what was the name of the kid? I got it here. Charles Wallace, played by Derek McCabe. I'll go with that kid, by the way, who is the genius kid who everyone thinks they're weird. Even the bully calls our main character weird because she's mopey, she's sad and all this stuff, and no one takes her seriously. And even the bully really deserved to have a basketball shove on her face because she was totally mean to the kid and all this stuff. And like every time on Disney, and I don't know if reality works on like that, in which they say that their main character Meg, she is doing the bad thing. She's the one who shoves the basketball, and she's the one who gets punished, and not the bully who apparently she insults her pride, and she's the one who has to apologize. She's defending herself. She was defending her pride. Good that she had a basketball shove on her face. Why didn't she tell that asshole principal, saying that well, she just told me that I want to die. She just told me that I want to die. I mean, even she put on a locker saying that why couldn't you disappear? That's still legitimately a death threat. Okay, so so everyone's pinning the blame out of her until apparently this kid brother begins to act annoying he kind of knows all the answers and then later three apparently celestial beings played by Oprah Winfrey, Reese Witherspoon, and Mindy Kaling appear and saying that, oh, we know your dad. Your dad apparently is made the most important discovery in his life, but now he's trapped apparently in some dark place, and you have to use now the power that he invented, let's say, that he discovered. That with the power of mind and your connection to your love to your parents, to your father in this case, sorry, now you can transport from one place to another. So the brother Charles Wallace, and another kid named Calvin, played by, what was the name of this kid? Levi Miller, who he was known as Pan from that disappointing movie, Pan. So they transport apparently to Windows desktop wallpaper world. Because that's the best way I can describe this movie. The scenery, it looks great, but for Windows desktop, it came into my mind because it looks like that. It's really open. No, not much animals there. Only flowers, and then we got a glimpse of some other animals, which is disappointing. We wanted to see a more richer environment than just empty fields or an empty place. And that's then at this moment the movie goes into autopilot, and I mean that it goes into autopilot because they have one goal. They have to go to the father. How do we get there? Oh, just think about it. Just try to get there. They go from one place to another with almost no guide, no direction. It's so confusing. Even the way they talk, it was weird, and it was weird. And this is the biggest problem that this movie has. Well, one of them is direction. It feels directionless. It feels that it wanted to create an experience, but it doesn't focus on where to go exactly. Where? I mean, even for a journey, you have to know where to go. But it feels like it has so many detours that it kind of loses focus on where we're going, and they decide to make an experience out of it. We also and in the technical aspect, while some of the effects look impressive, at the same time looks fake. Again, this is why I think that CGI, when abused, feels a little bit too synthetic. Even though they do an extra effort to make it look great. But other times, you kind of feel like something feels not okay. But probably I don't have a keen eye with this. I just kind of enjoy it in some parts. If this could hold a movie, it's okay. But again, we have to suffer during the whole script and the whole weird decision in which the people talk nonsense. They talk. It feels like preaching about love and the cosmic and let's say the cosmic worlds, the universe, and all this stuff. Personally, I feel confused. I'm not an expert on quantum physics, but man, I'm sorry. I feel that this movie kind of got me lost in one way or another. Especially because the movie tries to be so whimsical, but at the same time, it tries too hard to take it seriously. The things about people having the dark side and all this, the dark side of the universe, which doesn't feel that is coherently explained. No wonder people I've been hearing that this is a movie that is hard to interpret. Although if I want to see a battle between light and darkness and all this stuff, at least Kingdom Hearts makes a better explanation instead of that. Now it's time for me to talk about the acting. Most of the time, the acting is decent at best. Chris Pine is probably the best actor in there. Also, I think the most entertaining actor in this one is Michael Pena, which I kind of recognized for a while. So funny enough, this guy Michael Pena plays in the what is something like it was the Dark Side world, where he kind of plays this mustachioed buffoon on the beach. That's the closest thing I can tell how this guy acts, and I was like, hey, I know this accent. That's Michael Pena. And boom, it's Michael Pena. Well, but I'm not gonna. But while the acting I say that is decent at best, there is a golden turd in these piles of acting. Two actors in my mind are the worst things of this movie. The first terrible actor in this film is Reese Witherspoon, because that she is this character that appears very cynical to everything, and she kind of acts like a creep in a way. And considering that many people are more lambast of a giant Oprah Winfrey in this movie, I'm actually more concerned on how this Reese Witherspoon character, he's like trying too hard to chew the scenery with her whimsy or something like that. But oh jeez, sometimes she's technically kind of mean to the main character, and also comes in the moment in which she turns into this lettuce flying being that doesn't how can I say, doesn't do much for the movie. It's just there to make a flying scene, because apparently they wanted a flying scene, but why do we need a flying scene when apparently you can apparently transport with your thoughts, like you were concentrating to go back in time in the butterfly effect. I'll get to that also, because I got a special criticism on this one. But speaking of special criticisms, the worst actor and probably the worst character in this movie is none other than the kid, the Charles Wallace kid. Boy, that this kid is obnoxious. Many people are considering him this generation's Jake Lloyd. And you know what? People say that, why are you being so mean for a 6-year-old kid? Whatever! This kid, that's still called responsibility. You have to scold a kid when they're acting bad. And this kid, who, in my mind, he's kind of like a little Sheldon. A young Sheldon. I mean, this kid kind of reminds me of young Sheldon. Even though young Sheldon kind of, at least has his props, even though I never seen the series. But this kid, she comes off as being overly cute, overly pampered, and despite being this, I know that he was trying to be like a small genius kid who has this adult language, kind of like Calvin from Calvin and Hobbes. Coincidental, because one of the characters is called Calvin. This kid. The first time he made his bad acting, I smell bad news on this kid. The scene that comes into my mind is when the kid overhears two teachers bad-mouthing his daughter, and what was it, the principal and other stuff. And the kid began to have a tirade and a rant on them, saying that you're just talking mean things, it's rude to talk mean things on their back and all this stuff. But the way the kid talked, he was like, oh god, kid. and the kid yelling, and then apparently it has wanted to make the oh, he's a young kid. He has this young naivete that is not afraid of. As not afraid of even talking to stranger. He's like, hello everyone. Oh God, kid. Sometimes there is a fine line between whimsical, being trying cute, and Hayao Miyazaki, let's say. Speaking of that, that's mostly every single reaction of many of the wondrous things that this movie has. Instead of having this kind of reaction, like, oh God, or something like that, they just take the Hayao Miyazaki route in which nothing out of the ordinary faced them. It's all like, wow, or something like that. I mean, I know that they're trying for the whimsy, but there is a time and a place to be whimsy. I think that the best sometimes in the Hayao Miyazaki world, why it works is because the characters are kind of in a safe space in a way, or they feel safe. Not many times in Wrinkle in Time, because technically they're talking to strangers, and this kid, is the kind of child acting or child direction or child writing that I kind of dislike, because it kind of plays out saying as an excuse that kids can do anything what they want because they're too innocent. And I'm kind of afraid that most of these movies kind of fails because they don't show the consequences of doing something like that. They kind of did on this movie, but here's a little bit of spoiler, let's say. Because I want to talk that almost during the climatic moment of the film, where they kind of go with the big bad dark side or something like that that possesses the kid suddenly turns evil. And you know what? This is the moment when I was certainly amused by this kid. When the kid turns evil, I was kind of clapping in a way. Because somehow, this is the kind of evil that I wanted. I encourage to see evil children. But not because they're possessed or something like that. I mean, fuck that. Sometimes children can be really mean or really evil, let's say. If this kid could have turned into the evil, that movie would have been great. But unfortunately, they go with the "you love me, I love you" and all that stuff. The power of love conquers everything. I can hear someone say, "Drat, I've been foiled by the power of love." Very cliche. I heard that it's on the book, but man. Yeah, man, you could have pushed it a little bit too far, too much to modernize it, please, Disney. But anyway, the point is that when the kid becomes evil, it is totally amusing. That I kind of love it. We need more evil children, but this time stay evil. This is not probably despite not liking Sinister 2, I'll give it credit that at least we have an evil child that stays evil and has its comeuppance. At least I'll give it that. Okay, enough ranting about this kid. What about the Calvin kid? Again, he is... Well, now that I think of it, he's kind of useless. He's just there. Even though I kind of wish that this kid could have done more, because this is one of the few actors and characters that I could tolerate. But he doesn't do much. And now, it's time for me to talk about the physics of this movie. And what this movie was trying to do in the turn of themes of love and going to space and time and relativity and all this stuff. Which I consider bullshit. So, the biggest gripe of this movie, apart from being a nonsensical mess, is that probably it's on the book, I don't know, but apparently it says that when you use the power of the mind, you have this power of love. You can move from one universe to another in an instant or something like that, which I previously said that it kind of involves the power of the mind, but I think this is something more than that, and you don't, unless you have psychic powers, like Psyche, I don't think you can do this easily. And if this movie doesn't have at least of some kind of a crux or a base on how you do it, how you move from one place to another like that, that how you do it, it doesn't work. It's not like, for example, in Rick and Morty, a better show or a better thematic about traveling through other universe and all that stuff. To move from one place to another, it needs some kind of a map or something like that. And like, for example, Rick and Morty, at least they have the excuse that they have the portal gun. This one, with just thinking without some kind of machine or something like that, it's hard to believe. I know that this is a fantasy or something like that, but even fantasies should have a little base on that. I mean, even you could say, okay, you got magic. Alright, where magic comes from. It has it on your blood. You have your blood. It's vague, but at least I can get it. These things, you could even make Rick Sanchez from Rick and Morty be baffled. Baffled. Oh, and you know what? Now that I think of it, here's a challenge. I would love to see this movie with a riff track of Rick and Morty watching this movie. I mean, I can imagine. Hey, look, Morty. They're traveling from one planet to another without a portal gun. And so, what they're using? They use the power of their mind? They're psychic? No, they're using the power of love. Yeah, Rick, I understand, and this is totally bullshit. At least your portal gun makes sense. I agree, Morty. I would love to see that. So, please do that. I wish I could see Rick and Morty watch this movie and tear it to pieces. Oh, and speaking of bullshit, there is one particular scene that I have to talk about, which is the moment that took me off the film. And I call foul. The moment is that Meg and Calvin, they get separated from Charles Wallace, this annoying kid. Finally, they got, but they're being chased by this huge ass tornado that apparently came out from the set from Twister. And while running, they're running through apparently this giant mountain on the distance, but they are far away and they can't reach it in time. So apparently Meg get this idea, and she's like, hey, do you trust me? Yeah, despite meeting you one day, then I have a plan. Follow me. You know what she do? Oh, jeez. She and Calvin get inside a hollow tree trunk that they find. They stay there so that the tornado sucks the tree trunk, it revolves around it, and then it shoots them to the safe mountain, high in the safe mountain, and they land with no scars, no broken bones, no bruises at least. I was like, that's a miracle. Oh jeez, that was so stupid that I can't believe that it happened. But I would have forgiven this, but when if it wasn't later when the guy said, how do you know this could have worked? And she said, oh, it was simple physics. What? Physics? Physics? That wasn't physics! Physics doesn't work that way! This is actually a miracle! You were lucky that 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 it went that the tree went that way. Not even geniuses approach that with so much confidence that this might work. Why? Because what happened there is not physics. It was probabilities. Physics, I mean, do you know that? I know that physics also deals with probabilities. I'm not a physics guy expert or something like that. But, you know, this had the chance that not only you guys will have been slipped out of the tree trunk, there was also the chance that that this trunk will shoot out on the other way. Even you should have acknowledged that. That wasn't just physics. It was just a miracle, a bullshit miracle. God. And speaking of that, the physics. Also, speaking of physics, I know that there is this phenomenon that when you're falling, kind of in a plane or something like that, you have this sensation that you're flying or something like that. I don't remember the name of that thing, but I don't know if how they managed this. It works that way. Being on a flying creature, a flying lettuce creature. Oh god. So yeah, technically, that scene with the tornado, this is what took me out of the movie. So how do I wrap this one? I'm gonna a little bit spoil you the ending, because the ending is that after this love nonsense about this, the three celestial beings, they meet the Meg character and Charles Wallace, and apparently say their congratulations, even though the celestial beings, they barely did anything. They just accompany her. They accompany her to see the seer, played by what was it, Sakalafanakis? Who he was just there. He was just there. I don't know, just there. And Charles Wallace went, the celestial beings say that you became one of the most important person in the universe, just like Gandhi, Einstein, and all these important people. I'm surprised they didn't mention Jesus, or Siddhartha, or Moses, or all those, or religious figures that many people believe. Or, I mean, even Zeus probably. My smartphone. I'll check it out later. But here's the thing: what happens when Meg finally decides to apparently I remember the name, Tesseract herself into her hometown. Tesseract. It sounds like the thing from the Marvel universe. Whatever. There is this apparently nice looking moment in which she's like this with some CGI spectacles, but the way the music was treated or something like that, I almost thought that she was gonna turn into the star fetus child from 2001: Space Odyssey. I wish it could have done that, because this movie tries to be too smart for its own good. So yeah, they get home, everything is resolved. The mother, when she finally sees Chris Pine, she isn't like, where the freak have you been for 4 years? She's like, and no issue with the bully, just like this, and the movie ends happily ever after with this. With the credit scene that it looks like a glorified PowerPoint slideshow, or more like a glorified window screensaver. And those are my thoughts on Wrinkle in Time, which, when I begin to think about how this movie is pretty bad. This movie's bad. It's not the worst, but it's bad. Do I recommend it? I'm not gonna say that that is so bad that it's harmful. It's technically harmless, but I don't think you're gonna get out very much in this. The pacing is too slow for younger audiences with ADD who will take care of, and adult audience will be very confused, or if people who kind of like the book, they probably not gonna like it, or there are gonna be a few people who probably not gonna like it. It may have the cult following maybe in other years, but we'll see about that. But we're talking about the results right now, and Wrinkle in Time is a movie that it tried to be too smart for its own good, but at the same time too whimsical to attract younger audience, and it couldn't balance itself to have it in both ways. So, and that's pretty much I have to say about Wrinkle in Time. Not a good movie. It's actually a misfire. This movie should be left up for people who know better on writing about traveling through other universes, like Rick and Morty. See you next time, children!